Joe Rogan just said something shocking about Hollywood, so let's not waste any time. Here it is, right away. An old Hollywood producer built a bedroom inside his own office. Not down the hall, not next door, inside it. He built that room before he ever met the people who would walk through his door because he already knew exactly what he was going to ask for.
Said that the devil runs Hollywood.
I did say that.
You still believe it?
Let me ask you a question. Didn't we just have Christmas?
Yes.
What were the films premiered for Christmas? Name the titles you can think of now.
I can't really think of any actual Christmas films. No, you're not really seeing Christmas movies right now.
Not really seeing. And then
There's no
Nostradamus
Grinch,
too. What is that?
Yeah.
I can't even say it. It's so evil. That the vampire movie?
Yeah.
If you look at the marketing for the new Christmas vampire movie, Vlad, it doesn't say. It says, darkness, and So, to answer your question, the rating system in Hollywood is what it is. So you have G, PG, rated R, all of that. Which one of all those ratings, Vlad, is the most profitable?
G.
G.
Yeah.
What percentage of G films are made every year?
30%.
Something like that.
Yep.
I ask you, Vlad, why would the highest profitable rating be only 30%? What are they making in that other 70%?
This is not a rumor someone made up online. Joe Rogan said this on his own show using his own words. And by the end of this video, you will see how this one story connects to Ellen DeGeneres, Oprah Winfrey, and a death that still does not add up. Before any of this makes sense, you need to know one simple fact. For decades, getting cast in a movie or signed to a record label was never just about talent. People inside the industry have a name for it. They call it the deal with the devil. It means trading something private, something personal, just to get through the door that everyone else is standing outside of. This is not new. It is not one bad person having one bad moment. It is a pattern that goes back generations, passed down quietly, and Joe Rogan has been one of the only people with a platform big enough to talk about it out loud.
Saying is exactly what happened to Chappelle.
Oh.
The Chappelle show.
Yeah.
They loved him. He's this wild dude, and then all of a sudden, this is too wild. This is becoming
We
really
can change
successful.
him. We'll make
we
him
can
normal.
change
Yeah.
you. They wanted him to stop saying the N-word. They wanted to stop a bunch of different things on the show.
And we'll give you all this money if you roll over.
They gave him literally the devil's deal. We're going to give you $50 million, and this is what you're going to get. And he's like, no, I quit. I quit everything, and I'm going to go to Africa. I'm going to hang out in Africa for a while, and I'm going to quit stand-up for 10 years and come back and still be the best.
That is so the right move.
Once you understand that one idea, every story in this video is going to click into place. Let's start with that bedroom, because it tells you everything you need to know about how this system was built. Quentin Tarantino, one of the most famous directors alive, has talked about an old-school Hollywood executive from the 1960s. This man had a regular office, the same as anyone else in his position. But inside that office, he also built a full bedroom. Think about what that means for a second. He did not wait to see if he liked someone before making a move. He built the room first, on purpose, before he had even met the people who would one day walk through his door. He already knew exactly what those meetings were going to be about.
They're eating babies, man. Like that's
You think, so that you think is real. So
Well, yeah, not only that, I think that there's sacrifices going on every day in Los Angeles. Allegedly, high-level musicians, let's say, high-level female musician is killing chickens every day, doing sacrifices.
high level.
I don't want to say. I don't want to say names because I don't want to get sued, and I don't want to be dead.
If you wanted to be a star, and this man was your way in, you had to go see him. That is not a rumor either. That is what Tarantino himself said, plainly, in his own words, on camera.
If your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there, like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil.
Hollywood Records contract, and I'm signing it to have my first record ever and selling my soul to Hollywood Records.
Time has come. You're gonna break it quick, clean, get it done with. Doesn't matter that I signed the blood oath. Doesn't matter anymore. The Illuminati's real. I'm a member. It's how Imagine Dragons got famous.
The label's telling you, listen, you have to sit down with Spotify, sit down with Apple. You have to do this interview. You have to. If you don't want to, you have to. You have to go see this person and sit down and talk to them. You have to go and do this. You have to. Literally, you can say, I don't feel like doing that. I don't even like that person. You have to. You're a puppet.
Oh, he sold his soul. She sold his soul. If you sign that contract, and got that money, you sold your soul. Period. Point blank period. As soon as you signed that contract, you sold your soul. Did I sell my soul? I sold my soul for you. Now figure that out. Talking about I sold my soul for you. Y'all coming right with me, you dummies.
I don't know if you've had this, but I've had people throw millions of dollars in my face to do something I didn't want to do. And, yeah. Oh, they're in the room. Yeah.
And here's the part that should really bother you. It was not one office, one man, one decade. Joe Rogan has pointed out how often this exact same pattern shows up once you actually start looking for it. Different names, different decades, same setup. So keep that idea in your head because it is going to come up again. A small group of directors, producers, and music executives held the keys, and they built their entire world around that power. Everyone on set usually knew what was happening behind closed doors, but as long as the movie made money, most people chose to stay quiet about it. Now here's where this story gets even harder to sit with. Adults can sometimes tell when something is wrong. They have some life experience to lean on, even if it's not much. Kids in the industry did not have that. They trusted the adults around them because that is what kids are supposed to do. Owen Benjamin has talked about what he personally saw around child managers in Hollywood. He said it plainly, no dressing it up. Some of these management setups did not work like real careers being built. They worked like a racket, plain and simple.
Knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. Everything ain't for everybody.
You get 16. You good to go.
I'm good to go.
Are you good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, young brother, everything's good? Selling out arenas and everything? Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you haven't...
For all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a P. Diddy party, this is what happens to the white man. When they come to one of my parties, I put them to sleep. Next day, right?
Where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So, and we gonna go full crazy.
Parents are supposed to be the ones watching for warning signs, but often, the warning signs were sitting right there in plain view. Strange requests for private time with a child, late-night industry events that no 12-year-old had any real reason to attend, and too many parents, dazzled by the idea of fame or scared of losing that income, chose to look away instead of asking hard questions. Now think about two names you already know very well, Justin Bieber and Corey Feldman. Both of them grew up inside this industry from a very young age. Both of them have spent years trying to talk about what happened to them as kids, and both have stopped just short of telling the full story.
I just wanted to be a good example, and it was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you in a second. I just wanted to protect her, I don't want her to go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody.
At one point, Diddy reportedly had guardianship over Justin Bieber for 48 hours. Bieber has since talked openly and emotionally about regretting how his childhood inside the industry actually played out.
Listen, the guy was involved in music, right? Yes. And you get compromising information on these guys and get them 100%. To sign very unfavorable contracts. Yes. Like, what better way to get a guy to sign an unfavorable contract where you're going to get billions, because he was a billionaire, right? You that guy and film it. Yes. You get video of your boys that guy and filming it. You let him know you always have that.
Underage girl.
Well, you put these guys on GHB or whatever they're putting them on. They're out of their minds. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
Don't say blow their assholes out.
Yeah, that's what he was doing.
But you're 100%
right.
Mill
and stuff.
That's for sure.
These are not two isolated stories that happen to line up by accident. They are two men who lived through the same kind of system at the same time and are both still carrying the weight of it today. And once you see how many other names fit this same pattern, it stops looking like bad luck. It starts looking like a system that was working exactly as it was designed to. Let's move on to one of the biggest names in this whole story. For years, Oprah Winfrey and Harvey Weinstein moved in the exact same circles. They showed up at the same events, night after night. They were photographed together, smiling.
Know me every 3 or 4 times. Like, I run into him in Madison Square Garden, and there's a restaurant, Rebecca Grill, which he had owned a piece of at one point, and give you a half-ass hello, maybe. He was way above. I was beneath him.
Yeah.
He never got punched in the face.
Is that what it is?
I heard Jason Priestley punched him in the face.
But he just, if you thought about a character in a film, Harvey Weinstein is almost 2 on the head.
Almost unbelievable.
Nobody would would do that.
He would never get away
too
with
much,
all that.
too much.
And
How
get
many
away
years
with it
is
for
he
so long?
doing?
20-something years.
Is it?
Nobody would do that.
20-something years.
Yeah.
And might be more, right? They got cases
Well, there's way
in
more
LA.
cases. Yeah, there's way more cases. This is just what he's been convicted for.
Right.
I mean, he apparently was behaving like that for decades.
So you're telling me nobody knew?
They knew. They all knew. That's what's crazy is it's worked into his fucking contract. His contract had, if you get this amount of per sexual harassment case, they had it that he would have to pay this much. If it was 2, he'd have to pay that much. If it was 3, he'd have to. Imagine if you're signing up for a place like, Steve, I know you're a piece of shit, so this is what we're going to work into the contract.
Jesus.
All your piece of shit behavior, we're going to write it down, and you're going to be penalized per piece of shit behavior.
A long trail of settlements and silence that let him keep working while the industry around him simply looked the other way. That's when singer Seal posted a photo of Oprah and Weinstein together, standing arm in arm. Under the photo, he wrote something short and simple. You knew, and you said nothing.
What I reposted was not an attack on Oprah at all. She just happened to be the person photographed with the pig in the picture. No, what I reposted was commentary on the hypocritical and double-standard nature and behavior of Hollywood. To those of us who support the Me Too movement, just know this: not one of the women who have been sexually abused, not one of the women who have come forward has received any real justice whatsoever. Losing your job because you either A, raped, B, sexually abused, or even sexually harassed a woman is not real punishment. You steal from the post office, you go to jail.
But here is what makes this so much bigger than one uncomfortable friendship. Reports say Weinstein had harassment payouts written directly into his own business contracts. The more claims that piled up against him, the higher that number climbed. First offense, one number. Fourth offense, a much bigger one. This means his own company planned for his behavior in advance, in writing, before it even happened again.
Let's talk about what's happening with Harvey Weinstein. I know you posted on Facebook already, but you haven't kind of spoken yet publicly about what's going on.
I think that this is, I'm always trying to look for the rainbow in the cloud, whatever is the silver lining. And this is what I do know for sure. When something this major happens, when you have the fallout, 50 women coming forward, that it's a watershed moment. And what I do believe is actually happening is that, first of all, it's triggering a lot of unreleased pain, repressed anger, guilt, and suffering that a lot of women have had.
So ask yourself the question Joe Rogan keeps circling back to over and over. At what point does simply being close to something like this stop being an accident and start making you part of it? Oprah herself has talked about it publicly since then, calling it a watershed moment. She said a lot of women in the industry felt like they had to smile, look the other way, and pretend nothing happened, just to keep their job and keep moving forward. She said those days should be over. But plenty of people are still asking why it took so long for her to say any of that in the first place. Now let's talk about someone who saw all of this coming and did something almost nobody in his position has ever done. In 2005, Dave Chappelle had the hottest show in comedy. Comedy Central offered him $100 million to keep making it. He said no. He left the country. He flew straight to South Africa and disappeared from an industry that had just handed him more money than most people will ever see in their entire lives.
Saying is exactly what happened to Chappelle.
Oh.
The Chappelle show. Yeah. They loved him. He's this wild dude, and then all of a sudden, this is too wild. This is becoming really successful.
Him. We'll make him
can
normal.
change you. They wanted him to stop saying the N-word. They wanted to stop a bunch of different things on the show.
And we'll give you all this money if you roll over.
They gave him literally the devil's deal. We're going to give you $50 million, and this is what you're going to get. And he's like, no, I quit. I quit everything, and I'm going to go to Africa.
Years later, he finally explained why, using a story about catching baboons out in the wild. Someone hides salt inside a hollow log. A baboon reaches in, grabs a fistful of salt, and makes a fist to hold onto it. Now his hand is too big to pull back out through the hole. Here's the part people miss. The baboon is not actually trapped by the log at all. He is trapped by his own grip. All he has to do is let go of the salt and he is free, but he never does. He would rather stay stuck than open his hand. And that is exactly how the hunter catches him every single time.
Crisis of conscience and stood up for his integrity as an artist. He explained to us how stepping out of the spotlight helped him avoid getting caught in a trap.
It's so much bigger than money, though, Dave. It's so much bigger than money.
Oh, no, it was bigger than money. But you know what?
I watched one of these nature shows one time, and they were talking about how a bushman finds water when it's scarce. So they put a lump of salt in a hole, and they wait for the baboon. The baboon comes, sticks his hand in the hole, grabs the salt. Salt makes his hand bigger, and he's trapped. He can't get his hand out. If he's smart, all he does is let go of the salt. Baboon doesn't want to let go of the salt. Then the bushman just comes, takes the baboon, throws him in the cage, and gives him all the salt he wants. And then the baboon gets thirsty. The bushman lets him out the cage. The first place the baboon runs to is water. Bushman follows him, and they both drink to their fill. And in that analogy, I felt like the baboon. But I was smart enough to let go of the salt.
Chappelle said that is exactly what a $100 million deal looks like from the inside. The money is the salt, the contract is the log, and the people offering it already know that once your hand is in, you won't want to let go, even when letting go is the only thing that could save you. He looked straight at the salt, and he opened his fist anyway. This next part is where the title of this video really comes into play, so stay with us. Decades ago, comedian Richard Pryor talked openly about private parties happening in Malibu. Gatherings where the most powerful people in entertainment showed up, far away from cameras and reporters.
Ellen situation. People found out that Ellen was mean, and all these people came out and said, Ellen's actually a chicken. And everyone, whoa, can't believe it. And she lost everything. She fell apart, disappeared, because people found out that this character that she was portraying in half an hour on a television show is not really who she was.
Pryor said that if you talked about what happened at those parties, nobody argued with you. You just quietly disappeared from the industry. No explanation, no invitation ever again. That silence was the punishment. Now let's bring this closer to today, because this is the part that connects everything. Steven, known as Twitch, Boss, was not just a dancer on television. He was Ellen DeGeneres' executive producer, inside her show every single day for almost 8 years.
All right, what do you have there? What's that?
People, how far back we go.
I know, but I wear t-shirts. I don't know what that means.
The Ellen Show ended in 2022. Weeks later, Twitch was gone. But there was an on-camera moment with Diddy that reportedly left Twitch visibly shaken, and there are questions about that timing that never really got answered.
Hey, everybody. I just wanted to say the past 11 days have been really tough for everyone. Everyone is in pain and trying to make sense of it, and we'll never make sense of it. And the holidays are hard, I think, anyway. But to honor Twitch, I think the best thing that we can do is to laugh and hug each other, play games and dance and sing. That's the way we honor him.
Some people survived this industry with their story still intact. Others did not survive at all. Once you line up the timing of everything we just walked through, it gets a lot harder to call that a simple coincidence. And it is worth remembering that Twitch was not some outsider looking in. He was inside the circle every single day, present for every booking and every guest who walked through those studio doors. In 2014, Jim Carrey went on Jimmy Kimmel Live and, right in the middle of a normal, casual interview, started making a hand sign connected to secret society symbols. He did it with a big grin on his face, right in front of the camera, like he wanted people to notice.
People that are in the position to actually know the people's names on the list, those people are probably in trouble.
Yeah.
Because that's a crazy piece of information to have.
Look.
No one's been tried. No one's been brought, no one's been discussed. We know who went there. We know flight logs. No one talks about anything. There's no effort to prosecute. There's no effort to... And then you have Ghislaine Maxwell, who's in jail for sex trafficking to who?
Was it just a joke? Maybe. But years later, when the Epstein flight logs were finally unsealed, showing real names attached to real trips, that moment looked a lot less like a joke and a lot more like a warning. Rogan's longtime guest, Eddie Bravo, had been talking about this exact network for years before those documents ever came out. He kept saying it out loud, again and again, long before anyone else was willing to. Once the logs became public, his warnings stopped sounding like speculation and started sounding like he already knew. Carrey's hand sign on live television, Bravo's warnings on the podcast, Rogan's platform holding space for all of it, years before the paperwork finally caught up to what people had already been quietly hinting at. Even Chris Tucker's name showed up on those flight records. When he was asked about it directly, he said he had no idea who he was really flying with. He thought he was just joining a group of diplomats on a trip to Africa. True or not, it shows you just how easily even famous, powerful people could end up connected to this network without fully understanding what they had walked into. After everything you just heard, do you think this pattern goes even further than the names we covered today? Do you think there are more stories like Twitch's that never made it to the headlines? Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.